Dive watches have become incredibly fashionable. You don't have to be on a beach. You don't even have to take a plunge in the sea nowadays to have one. However, they are good for all of those kind of occasions. And if you want to actually do some diving, maybe a bit deep sea, you can do that. Also, if you just want to stroll on a beach, well, the watch is good for this as well. Let's have a look at it. Dive watches can be incredibly expensive. The shot in the left hand corner of the screen shows a Breitling which was £3,300. I paid £50 and 59 pence for this watch. So let's see what we get for your money for that. The watch face is very pretty, and this is in a very light blue. I just chose this. You can get other colours with this, and it really does look very, very nice. On the face you can see we've got various things. So we've got months, 24 hours and days of the week. The overall finish of the watch again is very good. It's polished just on the outside on this part, and then it's got like a brush polish around on the straps and just over where the lugs are. The strap itself is pretty standard kind of strap, tapered down, and then has a link into the sensor here that just crosses over and just clips into place. So it's fairly easy to open and close. The pins on the side have been push pins, and I've had to take a few out to fit my wrist, which is a 7¼ inch wrist, but you have to expect that when you're buying a watch. There's also some micro adjust onto the side, so you can see that we've got a few little bits down here. There isn't a dive extension on this one, but again, I don't have to worry about that. I'm not going to do any diving with it. Looking at the back of the watch, you can see that it's a display case, and the display case again is quite nice. Shows some of the insides of it, and around the outside there's stainless steel. It says automatic, water resistant, up to 20 AM on it. Hopefully you can see on the very bottom line, just get my finger out of the way so you can read that, it says that it's officially certified. Now I don't believe that that is correct, because dive watches have to have an ISO 6425 standard, and I can't find any evidence to support that. But so what officially certified actually means, I'm not sure. I think that. Let's have a look at some of the watch's features. The Loreo dive watch has a screw down crown. It's got crown guards on either side. To release this crown, you have to turn it first of all anti-clockwise, and then you can just see a little click and it'll come out. It's on a spring. To set the time on it, you then have to pull it out all of the way, and it rotates around. And while you're doing this, you'll also see that this watch hacks as well, so the second hand stops on it. Again, from the crown, setting the date on this, you just push it in to its second setting and then slowly wind it back, and hopefully you can see on the date window there, it just clicks over on each one. To reset the crown, all you're having to do is push it back in, turn it clockwise, and if you want to swim with this, you've got to make sure that this is in properly, because it has to seal down inside there, and then you just make sure that it's nice and tight, and then it's all functional for you. Unscrewing the top one, again you turn it anti-clockwise until it just pops out, and then all you're having to do on this is you're just having to press this, and you'll see over this side it changes from one day to another. So I'm up to Sunday and then around, so you can just see that dial moving. To close this down again, you must close these down, because otherwise if you were to put this in water would get inside, so you have to seal it back off again. So you push it back in and rotate it around until you feel that it's locked nice and firm. The bottom button down here, again you need to unscrew this anti-clockwise to let you feel it pops out, and then you can just adjust this around, and you can see the dial just over this side moving. And then if you want to close this back down, push it in, screw it up, and the job is done. One of the big things with dive watches that everybody really goes on about is the bezel, and this one goes from 0 all the way around to 60, and it's quite a tight bezel. You've got a fair grip on the side, and I have to do this with 2 fingers in order to be able to rotate it around, and it can be a little bit stiff at times. There we go. But how you would do that with wet hands might be a little bit of a problem. Again, like this would only be if you really are diving, but it's just something that's worth bearing in mind. Overall, I mean, like, it looks fine on the watch. All the clicks fit good, and maybe, oh, it's just released a little bit better now as I've worked it around. It then gets certain points where it gets a little bit tight. There we go. You really have to give it a good twist, and you can see maybe on my thumb how I'm having to dig into to try and turn that around. So maybe with a little bit of lubrication that will work better, but got to again consider that if you were in water and you were trying to adjust that with wet hands, that would be maybe a little bit of a difficulty. The lume on the watch is not one of its strong features. I had a great deal of difficulty filming this, and even shining a bright torch onto it. The lume dropped within seconds, so that's not a great feature. I want to have a look at some of the dimensions of the watch, and because of the crown guard and our 2 other buttons on the side, I'm going to take the measurement just across the bezel, which is just reading as 39.2, and I think that's quite fair, because you can just see that this just overhangs that a little bit on the offside, and the thickness of the watch is 13.7. Does the Loreo diver's watch fit under the cuff? Well, again, using my standard shirt, you can see that I have no problems with this. Will the Loreo diver's watch fit under the cuff? with cufflinks. Well, I think you can just see it peeking out, and it fits well and looks good. The watch feels really nice on the wrist. Although it's a chunky watch, you can't really feel too much of the weight, and I have to say it does look quite smart. I've come outside in the rain today to get an outside shot, so I'm not going to linger around now because I'm getting a little bit wet and so is my camera, but you can see even in rainy conditions, watch looks pretty good. What can you wear with the Loreo dive watch? Well, putting on your snorkel, mask and swimwear is an obvious choice with any kind of dive watch, but you've also got to consider that if you took this to the office, it'd look good as well. And this is with a blue jacket, so the watch looks quite nice with this. Again, if you want to change this and you put it on with a jumper and a shirt, looking quite smart, and the colour again matches quite well. Taking it to a more casual, smarter type shirt, again like the dive watch would look no problem with this. And of course we cannot forget t-shirts and shorts, because this is a dive watch made for a beach, so this would be a good one. What's the web page like? The WYQ store web page on AliExpress gives you quite a lot of information. That information helps obviously when you're purchasing a watch. What also helps is when AliExpress has a sale, and when they have a sale, it prompts you a little bit more to purchase goods. That's why I bought this one for £50 and a few pence. So in conclusion, the watch is a brilliant watch. You don't have to spend £3,300 on a watch. What you need is something that is functional and practical, and this watch fits the bill.